Hello everybody, Skyrim here, back again with another Diablo Immortal video. Alright, this one, strap in. You'll probably be skipping around too, so hang in there. This one's going to be a comprehensive PVE wizard build extravaganza. Okay? We're going to cover all the bases as best I can here in this video, so like I said, strap in, get some snacks, hang in for the ride. Skip around where you need to, depending on what part of the game you are in, as far as difficulties unlocked, essences unlocked, that kind of thing. I'm going to start with beginner-friendly baseline essences that you get the very first difficulty at the very start, okay? We had 12 essences per gear slot.
Another tale to unravel.
Essence transfer, okay, yeah. We had 12 essences per gear slot in here to start out with on all classes for the most part, okay, at this point in the game. So I tried to put together, there are two builds I'm going to show here now that you can put together once you acquired these, mind you, these essences along the way. You're going to be leveling very, very quickly, of course, just starting out in the game and progressing along, and it will take some time to acquire these regardless, but these are the starting ones that you will get early in game to work with, all right? So now, on that note, as you can see, I have, 8 pieces of gear. If you're just starting out in the game, don't pay attention to these bottom 2. I duplicated them on purpose for the sake of these early starting builds, mind you, so that it's the same effect. But just pay attention to these top 6 pieces of gear, because that's what we're going to be going over. Now, let's talk set pieces first, though. Across the board, just to simplify things. Just to simplify things across the board in all of these builds. This is what I run in most PvE stuff still, regardless of the fact, just because the ease of use of it and what have you. Now you can tweak it however you see fit, depending on where you are in the game. That's the whole point of this. Just use these as cookie cutter and then make the choices yourselves, right? I hope that we all take that into consideration whenever we're watching any build video. Okay. 2 pieces of Vithus for the beneficial effect duration increased. 2 pieces of Banquet of Eyes for suffering your continual damage effects. You're going to be doing a lot of continual damage on Wizard across the board in all these builds anyway, so that's an additional 15% increase. And 4 pieces of Grace of the Flagellant for all continual damage, channel damage, persistent ground damage, which there are a couple of these builds that will check all the boxes in this one easily, but we're still going to be doing continual damage all the time anyway. Increased by 15%, and each time you damage any more than 5 times, which is fairly easy to do, especially with a lot of these builds, and you'll do additional damage to them. So there you go. That's the set pieces. We got that out of the way. Gems, that'll be another time. The only ones I can suggest very, very quickly, we'll just suggest for Wizard, baseline, we'll just do some 2 stars and 1 stars. 5 stars, honestly, I'll just cover it real quick. Bloodsoaked Jade, Rolling Consequence if you get a hold of one, and then anything else at that point is up to you. Those are pretty much at the top of the list. Obviously, there's some other 5-star ones out there, but I'm trying to keep it simple. Especially for a starter. I don't want to overload too much and make that too much of a hassle. 1-star gem, very, very easy to get. Entropic Well increases your skill damage significantly. This one's very nice. Berserker's Eye, as a mention, I had that one for the long time. I swapped it out with Entropic Well just because I prefer using skills. Berserker's Eye is good, but you take more damage, so it was kind of nice to not have that one on anymore. But if you really want to stack it, put them both on, and off you go, right? And then Pain Clasp is a 2-star favorite of mine for what it does. It amplifies your damage up significantly. With continual damage effect, you get a significant damage increase with it. I am a big fan of it. Always have been, always will be. And there you go. That's enough. That's enough for now. I don't want to go too much into that. This is all about builds. That's just kind of a general standard quo across the board. Another thing across the board on this one. Paragon. I go with Slinger. You'll see this one used in pretty much all the builds except for 2. Okay, there's 2 that will be slightly different, and I will show them when we get there. But this is the Paragon setup for the most part. This one here can be changed where you see fit as well. This one does your continual damage, harmful effects expire, they explode. So I pretty much run that one across a lot of these ones, but that's up to you. Swap them wherever you can. Just starting out, you're going to be building up your Paragon stat points anyway, so bear that in mind. But Slinger, ever since they changed the Paragon trees way back when now, from what they used to be, just go over this really quickly. We got Careful Aim. We have Unseen Dynamism. We have Uncanny, so you get critical hit on your stacks, and Impulsive, so you don't lose stacks. But you will lose stacks slower with this one, and you can get up to 15 stacks. So stacks upon stacks upon stacks for more damage. Basically, is all that means. There you go. So that's what I run on most of these builds here, except for 2, and I'll show you those when we get to them. Beginner-friendly builds. Again, the starting essences that you can get first in game. I've got 2 different builds here that you can work with. So here we go. First one here is. We got Fire Flurry. Actually, let me show you the skills before I get ahead of myself. Let's go to the skills. We have Teleport. We have Lightning Nova. We have Ice Armor. Just for, you'll see what this one's just thrown in because with the essence combination that I have for the starting set here on this one's a little bit more on the mobility version. You'll find that Wizard very starting out is kind of stationary with a lot of things that it does, but just take advantage of it for what you will. This one is a little bit more mobile. You're still going to be primary standing still, attacking a lot, so take that for what it is. Ice Armor and Scorch. Okay, now let's go to the essences really quick. Fire Flurry gives the Magma Ball and leaves the Lava Pool. Okay, Blazing Brunt will use your Lightning Nova and orbit you with 2 Lightning Nova. This one hits pretty hard early on in the game. I do like this one for that reason alone and what it does. Trying to like synergize and lean into further into the game, we use Lightning Nova a lot. So this is one option. Again, these are all options. This is just cookie cutter builds. Take for what they are. Whenever you get these essences, these synergize pretty well, and I just wanted to put together some beginner friendly ones, and then we're going to be moving into about mid game and then end game in this video. So hang in for the ride. Again, jump around where you need to. And let me know what you think about these builds in the comments, which ones you like, which ones you are using, where you're at in the game, that kind of thing, so on and so forth. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And share, comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. The YouTube algorithm, please. Thank you. Again. Anyway, I had to slip that in there, right? So we got Scorch, Knockback, and this will give you cooldown reduction on the Scorch, the shoulders. These are all, again, baseline essences that you can get at the very outset as soon as you can start getting legendaries to drop. A Rift Dancer's Stride. This one will cause you to do damage whenever you teleport into enemies. Damages all nearby enemies whenever you teleport into it. I just wanted to put something on for teleport to get a use out of one of the essences in the pants. There was not very many options in this particular setup. Thunderbird's Bite will increase your Lightning Nova damage. Blaster Cast is your 6th and final slot on these beginner builds because we do not have these bottom ones to use. So keep that in mind. These 6 pieces are what we're looking at here. Blaster Cast will cause your magic missile to triple fire. Triple shot. There you go. And also increases your damage by 90% on that. So this is a nice one to have. So let's just do a little...
Another tale.
There's the triple fire right there. Pay no attention to that. That's an added effect on my gear. There you go. Triple fire, magic missile. That's what it looks like. Of course, the damage with the teleport onto the target right there. And here is the Blazing Brunt. Ice Armor, just because we had to fill in a slot with something else and nothing else synergized. So the Ice Armor is kind of nice to have just in general. Again, early on in game, give you a little bit of defense anyway. And it lasts for a very long time. Again, nothing really to write home about once you know, end game wise. Obviously, we've moved far past this, but you get the idea. There it is. That is an option. These synergize pretty well. Now we're going to show you, I'm going to show you an alternative. This is a lot more stationary, and some of you might guess what that already is. All right, moving on to the second alternative beginner-friendly build, beginner early game build here. We have teleport, we have disintegrate, we have ice crystal now, so we're going to be a little bit more stationary, and we still kept scorch just for a little bit of extra added whatever. Continual damage, keeping that up while you're recovering from your channeling, while your channeling recovers on your disintegrate, because you'll be using this one fairly frequently for sure. Now I want to make note of this, as I see a lot of players, even a lot further into the game, forget when it comes to ice crystal, when it comes to single targets. Okay, it even says here in the description, a lot of people forget about this part right here. When you're using disintegrate beams of any kind, it says beams of energy striking the crystal will be refracted and strike multiple nearby targets. That's nice for hitting multiple targets, obviously, but keep in mind it says right here for reduced damage. I reiterate this point because when it comes to a single target boss that has no mobs that it summons or what have you, sometimes it's better if you do have the beam on you, it is sometimes better just to use the beam straight up at the boss themselves with no ice crystal. Now granted, this particular ice crystal has some extra added effects with the essences we're going to get into for additional damage, so you can do that, and sometimes just out of muscle memory you will forget and use it anyway. But I just wanted to point that out. A lot of people forget about that. A lot of people forget about this fact that whenever you refract the beam on multiple targets, it will do reduced damage because of that fact, because you're splintering off. But anyway, all right, back to the new set of essences on this particular build. We're still using the fire flurry, so we still have the lava ball. This one we're now using the ice crystal, so we have frost reaver garments. Okay, this one will apply a chill that damages enemies over time, and it will well, the ice crystal cooldown is if it's awakened. That's a whole nother ball of wax. We're not gonna get into that, so pay no mind to that, unfortunately, for right now. But anyway, yeah, so that's the ice crystal chest piece. Searing Judgment now. This will give you the fire burning disintegrate beam. Big fan of this way back in the day of the game, but this is the whole point of this. This is beginner friendly builds here of the essences that you'll get at the start and combinations to use. Burning enemies for additional damage over time. So this is a burning dot effect to it, all right, that you can use in tandem with the ice crystal beam, like I said, to fracture off to hit multiple targets. This one here also, speaking of fracture, we have Chaos Nexus. This one will disintegrate channels up to 3 additional beams at nearby enemies, so any enemies that start to come near you while you are stationary and channeling, this will zap out and hit. And this also will increase your damage by 90%. So essences that have the 90% damage increase tend to be the ones you really want to try to slot in wherever you can for that extra amped up damage. It will make the most of your abilities for sure. Okay, and going even further beyond into disintegrate damage increased with the entropic edge on the main hand. Again, starter friendly build. You're going to be using these top 6 pieces here only, so that's why I duplicated the 2 in the bottom. So you're only going to have these 6 pieces here to work with, so keep that in mind. And as Kalor's fire here on the offhand, this one can be, you can still stick with blaster cast if you want, but this one I just slapped on here because of extra scorch damage increase of whatever your max mastery rank is on your essences. So there you go. Again, you can still use Blaster Cast with Magic Missile for the triple shot in between your recovery on your channeling effect, but let's just go ahead and take a look at what this looks like really quickly in action. Obviously, there's a refraction beam to the target right there. Now, I don't have Magic Missile Blaster Cast, I just have the single shot. So again, use it where you want. And this is a single target, so best to use the beam on it. And then I threw that down, anyway for the chill on the target, and you can use it for multiple mobs if they summon. And there you go. And then of course teleport to just move around a little bit easier. But again, very, very, very simple, very, very this one's mostly very stationary, as most of wizard abilities are in the early game. That's just how it is. All right, moving on. We're gonna move on. We're kind of gonna jump into the hell difficulty ranges here right now. All right, now onto this next build here. This one's a little bit further beyond into the difficulties. This is ranging from all the way from Hell 1 all the way up. There is one piece in here that is Inferno 5. You can swap out if you so choose. That's, again, depending on where you're at in the game. Take it for what you will. There are alternatives that you can use, but nonetheless. Now also on this, we are now going to be using all 4 pieces of gear. Or all 8, excuse me, all 8 pieces of gear here. Now we're going to be into these difficulty levels. The Paragon on this one is also slightly different. It is still using Slinger, but as you can see here, it's a little bit different from the standard one that I use across all the other builds. So we have Careful Aim, we have Sharp Eye, and Precision. This is a bit more of a range-friendly. This is a spam build. This is a spam build, so here we go already. Spam Immortal. But yeah, this is a spam range-friendly build. Okay. So we'll get into that right now. Let's go ahead and cover the skills. We have slow. We do not have teleport, so keep that in mind too. So you're gonna, but you're still gonna be using slow time Terminus Helmet. So you're gonna be having a fair amount of mobility all the time anyway. So don't worry about that too much. PVE stuff, so it's fine. Slow time, Lightning Nova, Arcane Wind, Meteor, and we're using Electrocute in this particular one here. Okay. So now, essences. Set pieces, same deal. Set pieces are the same, so that's going to be standard across everything in this video. So we've already covered that. Terminus Facade. Most of you should hopefully know what it does at this point, but for the sake of the video and this build video, let's go over that. Causes you to enter Temporal Flux. It will reduce the cooldown on all your other abilities. Okay. Causing your non-channeled skills, that is. So skills that have charges on them is what you really want to go for, and this is why it takes advantage of that, so you can spam them much more frequently and faster and reduce the cooldown time on all the skills. That's why it is known as the Finger Bleed builds. This is a different variant of it. This is a ranged variant. Okay, Coat of the Astrum for the Lightning Nova charges that wisp all over the place. Stag of Ill Omen, which will increase your meteor damage, because we're using meteor in this one. Apocalypse Root, there's where the meteor comes into effect, and the spam of it comes into effect, because this one will give you multiple charges of meteor that will cause a burst damage effect to happen. And with Terminus, it works very, very well because of the multiple charges. And you will be stacking the damage of it up fairly frequently with the Stag of Ill Omen. Mistral Rend is the Arcane Wind spam, another spam in a can ability to benefit from the slow time Terminus Facade. Blood of the Wind, you're going to be burning, and also with my Roiling Consequence gem, I will also have that effect up a lot more frequently as well. With the Arcane Wind, deals 38% more damage when igniting a firestorm, so you're going to get that to happen fairly frequently in this one. Thunderbird's Bite, look at this, base essence returning here. Oh yeah, let me cover where these are found, what difficulties you're going to need to be at. Terminus Facade is a Hell 3 difficulty unlock. Okay, so once you get to Hell 3 and above, you will be able to start farming this piece, that essence. This one, the Coat of Astrum, was in Hell 1 difficulty, Hell 1 and above. This piece here is Hell 3 and above. This one's Hell 3 and above. This one here is Hell 3 and above. Seeing a pattern yet? Blood of the Wind is also Hell 3 and above. This one is baseline. And then this one here, this is the caveat I put in. This is the Inferno 5 piece and above. So take that for what you will. You can slot something else in here, but just for the sake of this particular build, This one does. Lightning Nova also increases your attack and movement speed. So you're going to be moving fast, very, very fast all the time, regardless, even with the slow, the Terminus helmet. So you may not need this one. This is just a little extra added on it. And so take that for what you will. You could possibly slot in something else. Maybe the Frenetic Spark. Just make mention of. I'm not going to show right now, but get the idea. Alright, so now to see this one in action. This is a ranged spam version of it, so you don't have to be as melee-centric as the other ones that you will see in a little while. So let's go ahead and pop this up, and we just start unloading with, and you just cycle through your abilities. And you just keep cycling through them. As soon as your slow time goes off, I just throw a primary attack in every now and again for a little extra whatever. But as you can see, spam Immortal, spam Immortal. Okay. General idea, nothing, I'm not gonna, you know, make a big to-do about the damage or whatever else. I'm just showing it for the sake of the video. What it looks like in action. Okay. So yeah, that one's range friendly, so you don't have to be in the thick of it all the time in this particular build. And this one you can see you can be stationary with, but you can move around with it too. But it's a ranged alternative to what we're more accustomed to in Endgame here, which most of us OGs will be aware of, right? Okay, next, moving on. All right, this is a build that I deem the flow build. The flow build, and for good reason. This is a cycling, easy on the fingers, easy on your hands, a cycling of your abilities. As soon as they come off of cooldown, you just pop them again, and you just keep moving. This is flow like water, okay? This is mostly be used, what I use it for anyway, is mostly in Erebon, and you can use it in Abyssal Verge in parties too if you so choose. You can use it in Elder Rifts just for mobility's sake, just to, you know, take it easy and just completely chill, relaxed cycling build here, okay? And also for Erebon, it will help in opening the chest very, very fast and stay on the go at all times because that's the name of the game in there. So again, Erebon, pretty much this one is at the top of the list for me. You can still use the slow time Terminus build, of course, for movement, but hey, let's face it, after you use that so much in the game, you kind of wanted to give your hands a break. This is the option, okay? This is the whole point of these, and that's why I like these ones so much. All right, let's go ahead and show, well, actually, start with the skills. Teleports back in this one. We have Lightning Nova, we have the slow time, and we have Disintegrate. All right, now we have to make mention of the Paragon here in this particular case because we're a little bit different. This is so that you can move with ease, which your biggest point right here is the illusory strides. Okay, this is so you move unhindered through monsters and barriers or traps created by skills. So whenever those mobs will try to wall you in, you go right through it, and you also pass through the enemies themselves. So this is very, very key to the on-the-go flow like water build here, okay? And then, of course, quick step, dash, cooldown, recover faster. Critical hit chance increases by your movement speed. Increase your movement speed by 3% for 5 seconds whenever you kill a monster, staying up to 15%. And leaning further into that one, critical hit chance is increased based on your movement speed. So there you go. That's what I run on this one, is the Harbinger skill tree for this particular one. Again, still on with, I think this one for continual damage. It's whatever. All right. So why do I use this one? As you can see here, let's go ahead. I'm not going to use it in the training dummies. There's no real need. I just want to show you how it moves. There we go. All right. I got to show the essences here, but I just want to do like a little quick so you see what it looks like. And you just cycle the abilities. All right, and now we'll show the essences. Okay. All right, so in this particular build, Let's go over the difficulties where they are found as well when you can start farming these essences up. Autumnal Crest. We see this one get used a lot in a couple other builds further in the video here. Inferno 2 difficulty unlock and above. Inferno 2 and above. Sprite Spark. Hell 1 and above. So this was a little earlier piece. Alright, we have Inferno 2 unlock here for filtered defense, which will give you the disintegrate, surrounds you in the entropic field, vulnerable enemies to crits, that kind of thing. Raptor Tail, Inferno 2 piece. When disintegrate hits a shocked enemy, which you will be doing with the helmet and the chest piece, both will cause zaps to occur. Unleashes chain lightning to targets and cannot occur more than often once every second, but that's fine. Once a second is good. Again, spamming of passive abilities here, and damage is also increased by 90% on this one. Scour Cut. This is a baseline piece, mind you. Disintegrate range is increased. So that will increase your field that circles around you. That's why I put this one on in particular. Frenetic Spark will give you the 100% uptime increase along with your beneficial effect duration pieces that you may have on your other slots and runes. And your gear bonuses here that you may have slotted in as well for beneficial effect duration. Make sure you got that where you can slot it in. But the Frenetic Spark will help Sprite Spark stay up a bit more. Sprite Spark, when it was first released... Oh, this is also a Hell 2 piece right here, which is funny because it came out a difficulty after Sprite Spark did. Sprite Spark's cooldown was a little rough, so this one made it to where you can pretty much keep it at 100% uptime, which is weird that they didn't release those two together, but you know, they kind of learned a little bit later on. All right. Moving on, Radiant Splines is the other main hand here. For whenever you crits, which you will be critting a fair amount with this build, occurs every once a second and releases additional charged bolts. So you're just going to be spraying charged bolts all over the place as you pass through all the enemies. Again, mostly this is Erebon, definitely Erebon, my preferred running build here for that. It's just really easy on your hands, and you just cruise. You just cruise. And then Trifling Piffle as well will also cause another Lightning Nova to unleash every 4.5 seconds. So there you go. All right. So that's that build. That's what I use a lot for just taking it easy. Just take it easy. Flow Rider. Right? Ba, 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 ba. Okay, I'm not going to do that for copyright reasons, but just look it up if you don't know. If you don't know, just look up Flow Rider song, okay? Well, there might be a couple different... Anyway, you get the idea. Pop, pop. Okay, I'm going to stop now. All right, moving on to the next one. All right, so now we are on to another cycle build. However, this one's a little bit slower, mind you, because it's aptly named the Walk-In build. Wow. Sometimes you just gotta take it easy on your hands again with this build. Okay, so let's go ahead and break it down. We don't have teleport, as you can see this time around. We do have slow time, we have lightning nova, we have disintegrate, we have ice armor, and we're on electrocute still. Okay, get this out of the way. We're back to the usual assortment of slinger paragon, so we're back to that one again. Oh, I did change this one. Oh, I haven't changed this one in forever. Lightning rod. Lightning rod's okay, but it occurs only every 30 seconds, so that's why let's go with the all continual harmful effects. This one will pop off more frequently, so let's just go with that one. Anyway, that's up to you again. That's up to you. What do you see fit? Here we go again. Familiar pieces you will see. Inferno 2, I think, was the heyday of a lot of the immortal essences in game, right? As we all know, I think at this point, a lot of them were, of course, very circle-centric radius type stacking builds, which got a little overdone, but nonetheless, these also were the most potent in their synergy So this one here, walking, take it easy. You're not going to be running around as much, but this one, you just cycle through your abilities and pass through enemies and just watch the damage, watch them melt. Okay, so you have the crest again. We have the isolated storm. These are all Inferno 2 pieces, I do believe. Well, except for the Thunderbird's bite. Filtered defense again. Raptor tail again. Thunderbird's bite baseline essence again. Dancing lightning. We'll show what that one does in a minute. This one actually, it makes use of the ice armor in our skill set this time around. And you will be doing zaps with it. So we're leaning into all things that will give you any kind of lightning shock abilities to stack up. I like this one because of the range on it is actually pretty cool, and the frequency that it procs to. Radiant Splines still here, and again, Trifling Piffle. Okay, so let's show the range on the Lightning Nova, the Dancing Lightning Ice Armor effect. Blink and you will miss it. All right, here we go, and 3, 2, 1. There it is. All right, that's a significant radius. As you can see, I am juiced. So let's go ahead, and there it is. That's what Dancing Lightning does. Pretty nice, right? So now let's stack everything up and walk. Respect. Walk. Okay. Yeah. So it's either the walking wow or the Pantera walk build. So take pick whatever you want. The tagline this one, but yeah, this is it in its entirety. Try to keep those lightning orbs on the target, but again, it's just cycle through. As soon as anything comes off a cooldown, you just pop it again. I'm not even using primary attacks here. I'm just using all skill. Obviously staying within reason of the radius of the Disintegrate mostly and the Lightning Nova orbs. Very, very easy. Very, very easy on the hands. So there you go for that one. Another cycle build. I like it a lot. I haven't used it for a little while now because I've been going, obviously full bore into the spam immortal builds for more damage output, but nonetheless, it still gets the job done. PVE, very, very chill, very, very simple, especially when you want to take a break on your hands. It's so nice. I still like it. I still like using it a lot, honestly, whenever I just want to take it easy and just walk through stuff. All right, on to the next one. All right, we're going to wrap things up here with this one. This is a spam in a can build, of course. We're just going to end on that note. So, yeah, this one will be apropos named one of the Fingerbleed variants, mind you. This is a little bit different. We did one earlier, which was ranged. This one's a little bit more up close and personal. Let's go ahead and get into it really quick. Same deal here, same Paragon setup, same set pieces throughout all of these, the same set pieces regardless of the fact. One little note, if you're still here for the beginner friendly builds, just checking these things out, I forgot, yeah, you won't be able to do the 8-piece set pieces for beginner friendly builds because you can only have 6 set pieces at the time. So I would probably lean with the 4-piece of Grace and 2 pieces of Vithus if it comes to it. I completely forgot about that, and I'm not about to go back in the video to add that in, but anyway, here we go. This one here, this one is a spam in a can. Of course, Fingerbleed, Slow Time, Lightning Nova, Disintegrates, Arcane Wind. It's pretty much standard quo, unfortunately, at this point. And I say unfortunately because I'm not really a fan of us having to spam in the game and mash buttons, mash keys, whatever you have to get the most out of it, There should be better combinations of things that we could put together that would be a lot more skill-based oriented, but hey, what do you go figure with all the other classes and everything, and the spam is all over the place, and spam is the name of the game, unfortunately, at this point. Okay, anyway, that's just a little side tangent on that, my thoughts on that one. We have Terminus Facade again. We have Isolated Storm. Now, this one is up for debate. You can switch this one to Coat of the Astrum to give you more charges, more damage, and a little bit actually more range. When it comes to this one, I like to have the lightning orbs surround me, and they revolve faster around you and can still do a significant amount of damage and track you better. Sometimes when you're running through dungeons, especially with the Code of the Astrum, yeah, those wisps are going all over the place, and they take some time to hit their targets and make it back to you. So that's why sometimes I will prefer the Isolated Storm over that one, simply because this one the balls will revolve around you quicker and stay tight on you and hit the target more frequently than not. Okay, so that's just my thought on that one. But yeah, the other one probably would do more damage output eventually. Depending on your targets. Okay. Now this one here, War Mage Mantle. The War Mage Mantle. Disintegrate now launches this small arcane orb sphere that bounces between you and multiple enemies and dealing damage and shattering the armor. So this is an armor break, multiple target tag. I like this one a lot because you get multiple charges. So this leans further into the spam build, of course. And the range on this one, I really wish that Mr. Rend would have the range that the War Mage Mantle ability does. They both throw out discs. Well, actually, in this case, it's an orb, small orb. But either way, they still have the same animation, but this one goes slightly further than this one does. I really wish that this one did have the range, but whatever. It is what it is. Hasten Oblivion. This one leans further into giving you more cooldown on your spam abilities, mostly in this case the disintegrate orbs that you will be throwing out with the shoulder piece. Okay. Mr. Rend, of course, back to the Arcane Wind discs, and then Blood of the Wind for the Firestorm combination. We've seen this in the previous build video, but this one is more melee centric. The other one was ranged. This is the more standard quo build across the board when it comes to this kind of stuff. Radiant Splines again, Trifling Piffle here again. Okay, so let's go ahead and see this one in action a little bit. I'm going to move around just to kind of so that you can, cast it on the go. I'm trying to keep my... Now this one, yeah, without the Code of the Astrum, you want to be a little bit more closer on your orbs. Granted, I'm not really staying on target as much here. I just wanted to show it off. Or just show the abilities. Not so much like, trying to go all in on damage here, but you get the idea. Okay, there you go. And as you can see, the orbs, like I said, circle around you and they revolve faster. They stay tighter on you. It makes it easier to track where they're coming from. Again, you can easily swap this out, and sometimes I do. I go back and forth sometimes depending on what I feel like. Sometimes I will swap this one out with the Code of the Astrum. Either one works. Either one works. I have my preferences at times when it comes to the lightning balls that stay tighter and track you better as you're moving around, but nonetheless. Anyway. All right, there we go. I'm wrapping things up here on this one. Again, please do the YouTube things. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to help out the algorithm. In the comments down below, let me know which ones you liked, which ones you're using, which ones helped you out if you weren't using them already. Again, we got cycling builds to be easy on the fingers. We got the spam in a can builds, as per usual. As for spam immortal that we have unfortunately, progressed or devolved to, I would say at this point, devolved to. And then the ease flow cycle build for Airbound and such. So again, like I said, refer back to this as often as you need to help out the views. But nonetheless, in all seriousness, hopefully you will find something here that you like. Hopefully you'll find something that, if you haven't already, like I said, and tweak it however best suits your individual playstyle as per usual. When it comes to these builds, that's just how it always is and how it always should be. Whenever you have that mindset and looking up builds for any game, always, take it in stride, look what's available, what we provide as options, and then tweak them according to your preferred playstyle, okay? And make it your own at that point. But anyway, regardless, Stay safe out there in the real world. For as always, everybody, take care of yourselves as best you can, one day at a time. It is all we can do. It's the best we can do. Until next time, see ya.